drones, I mean, they're pretty much everywhere now, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely.
You see them filming cool shots, maybe dropping off packages. They're just part of life.
Mm-hmm.
But what about when a drone isn't, friendly, when it's somewhere it shouldn't be?
Or worse.
Right, that's the critical question.
Things get really complex really fast then. How on earth do defense systems even, spot these things that can be tiny, moving super fast?
And amidst all the other noise in the airspace.
Exactly. And then figure out what it is and stop it without causing other problems.
It's a huge challenge.
So today, that's what we're doing, a deep dive into exactly that. We're exploring the Defense Counter-Unmanned Aerial System kill chain, C-UAS for short.
Yep, the C-UAS kill chain.
Our mission really is to give you a shortcut, a way to understand this whole end-to-end process.
From start to finish.
Yeah, from spotting that first blip somewhere to, neutralizing the threat and then learning from it all. It's about seeing how these systems work and adapt. And it's such a critical topic because, the C-UAS kill chain, it builds on older military ideas like the F2T2EA model. Find, fix, track, target, engage, assess.
Right, I've heard of that.
But the key thing here is how it's been adapted specifically for these modern drone threats. We're not talking big planes anymore.
Right.
We're talking cheap, commercially available drones sometimes, super fast, agile. They can even come in swarms.
Swarms, wow. That changes everything.
It absolutely does. The old rule book, it kind of goes out the window. You need something much more dynamic, integrated.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's walk through it. Imagine like a small drone, maybe bird size, pops up near, an airport or some secure site.
Mm-hmm.
Where does the system even start? How do you see it?
Well, that takes us right to stage one, detect. And this is purely about just discovering something is there, an unknown drone.
Just knowing it exists.
Exactly. And what's maybe surprising isn't just the different types of sensors, but how quickly all that data gets fused together to spot something that could just look like, noise. Or a bird, like you said.
So what kind of sensors are we talking about to cast that net wide?
It really has to be a mix. You've got things like advanced 3D AES radar. Think of it as like a really agile digital radar scanning everywhere in 3D, great for small, fast stuff.
Okay.
Then you have RF sensors listening for the drone's radio signals. You've got electro-optical EO and infrared IR cameras, so day or night vision, essentially.
Right.
Even acoustic sensors, literally listening for that drone buzz.
Listening for them.
Yeah. And sometimes ADS-B interrogators, usually for planes, but they can pick up some drones that broadcast their location. It's about layering all these things to get that first ping.
Wow. Okay, so a whole symphony of sensors just to know it's there. But finding it is one thing. You can't lose it, right?
Yeah.
You need to follow it. Which I guess brings us to stage 2. Track.
Precisely. Once you detect it, the system kicks into high gear to track its movement continuously. And this is where prediction becomes really important.
Predicting.
Yeah. You're using AI-powered multi-sensor fusion. So pulling data from all those detection sensors we mentioned into one smooth, real-time track.
Got it.
You also have persistent ISR, that's intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, basically, just constant watching, and things like Kalman filters.
Kalman filters, what do they do exactly?
Think of them as like smart algorithms. They help predict the drone's next move, even if the sensor data is a bit spotty or noisy. Like tracking a car in fog, it helps you guess where it's going much more accurately.
They're smoothing out the bumps.
Exactly. And if you've got multiple drones, maybe a swarm, there's swarm behavior analysis to try to figure out their collective plan, where they're headed together.
That's incredibly complex, trying to predict tiny, fast things. Okay, so we've spotted it, we're tracking it, but what is it? That seems critical. Stage 3, classify.
Yep, classify. Is it a regular off-the-shelf drone? Something military, maybe a homemade job, or part of that swarm we mentioned?
How do systems figure that out?
Well, again, machine learning is key here. Algorithms analyze the drone's signature, its specific radio output, and its flight patterns. Different drones fly differently,
Right, like a fingerprint.
Kind of, yeah. There's also RF fingerprinting, which looks even deeper at the radio signals to ID the make and model. Sometimes you can even use payload detection spotting anomalies with thermal or RF sensors that suggest what it might be carrying.
Without even seeing it clearly yet.
Potentially, yes. The idea is the system can often tell you what it is, maybe even before you get a good visual.
That's amazing. Okay, so knowing what it is leads to maybe the most crucial question. Whose is it? Friend, foe, or just lost? Stage 4, identify.
This is absolutely vital. You have to confirm. Is it friendly, hostile, or just neutral? Like you said, maybe someone's hobby drone got away from them.
Raises that big question for the defenders. Who is this thing?
Exactly. And for that, they use several tools. Blue force tracking systems are essential identifying your own forces so you don't accidentally target friendlies.
Critical.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Then there's database matching. Checking the drone's ID, maybe a manufacturer ID or MEC address against lists of known good guys or known bad guys.
Okay.
And more, visual recognition systems. High-def cameras feeding into AI that can visually confirm, yes, that's drone model X, or that looks like a modified drone. It's about telling that toy apart from a threat, fast.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So you've gone through all that. Detect, track, classify, identify, you know what you're looking at. Now you have to, well, decide.
Yeah.
Stage 5. What happens here? What goes into that decision?
This is where you weigh everything up. It involves a few key things. First, threat level estimation. Based on everything you now know, how dangerous is this drone? Is it heading towards something critical?
Right.
Then you have to consider the surroundings. Are there civilians nearby? Is it over a no-fly zone? You can't just, start shooting if it's over a populated area. The rules of engagement are critical. Of course.
And finally, absolutely vital, is coordination with command and control, or C2. Any action has to be authorized. It has to fit into the bigger picture, aligned with protocols. It's about making a rapid but responsible call.
Okay, the responsible call. And then comes the part everyone probably thinks of first. Stage 6, engage defeat. This is where the system takes action.
This is where it gets really interesting, yeah. You've decided you need to stop it. Now, how? And there's actually a whole range of options.
Okay.
You can think of it in two main buckets. Soft kill, which is non-kinetic, and hard kill, which is kinetic, physical.
Soft kill first. What's that involve?
So soft kill is about disruption without, blowing it up. Things like RF jamming or spoofing, basically blasting it with radio noise to break its control link, or even feeding it fake GPS signals, GPS denial, to make it lose its way or think it's somewhere else.
Tricking it.
Pretty much. Then you have directed energy weapons, DUWs. Think lasers or high-power microwaves, not necessarily vaporizing it like in sci-fi, but focused energy to fry its electronics or damage sensors. Wow. Lasers and microwaves.
Yeah, subtle but effective. Then you have the hard kill options. More physical.
Like what?
You could use nets or projectiles fired to physically entangle the drone and bring it down. There are even specialized drones interceptors designed to literally fly up and knock the target drone out of the sky.
Drone-on-drone combat.
Essentially, yeah. And for bigger or more dangerous threats, you might use ground-based guns or missiles. Things like C-RAM, which are these super fast-firing guns originally for rockets but now adapted for drones. Or systems like Skyhunter missiles. Much more destructive options.
So a whole toolkit from jamming to missiles.
Exactly. It's about having layers, choosing the right response for that specific drone in that specific situation.
Incredible range. But, okay, let's say the drone is down. Jammed, netted, whatever.
Yeah.
Job done.
Yeah.
Or is there more?
Oh, definitely more. That brings us to the final stage, number 7, assess, recover. And this is maybe one of the most important for the long run.
Why that?
Because this is where the system learns. Every single encounter is a data point. So activities here include wreckage analysis, if you recovered it. Teams take it apart, look at the payload, where it might have come from, its comms gear, gather intelligence.
Okay.
There's also forensic analysis of the digital stuff, command signals, flight path data, telemetry, what was it doing, who was controlling it.
Digging into the data.
Exactly. And then this is critical. All that information gets fed back. You update the AI models, you update the threat databases. So the next time the system sees something similar, it's smarter, faster, better prepared.
So it's a loop. It learns from experience.
Precisely. It's a continuous learning and adaptation cycle. That's what makes these modern systems so powerful. It's a living defense.
And I guess these 7 stages, they don't just happen in isolation, like one after the other in a vacuum, right? They must all be connected?
Absolutely. That integration piece is non-negotiable for a system to be truly effective in the real world.
How does that work?
Well, a serious C-UAS system has to be tightly integrated with command and control, the C2 systems. It's not just sending data somewhere. It's about real-time alerts popping up for the right people instantly.
Right.
It allows coordination across different defense layers, air, ground, maybe even cyber defenses. And it lets commanders make those rapid decisions based on the established rules of engagement because they have the full picture right now.
So speed and a unified picture are key.
Seconds matter in these scenarios, not minutes.
Yeah, I can imagine. And are there like other advanced features making these systems even smarter, pushing them beyond just these core stages?
Oh, definitely. What's fascinating now is how enhancements are really pushing the boundaries, heading towards, more intelligent, almost autonomous defense.
Like what?
Well, you've got AI and machine learning for threat prioritization. The system itself can look at multiple detected drones and decide, okay, this one is the biggest immediate threat based on its speed, path, maybe its likely payload. It triages autonomously.
So it helps humans focus.
Exactly. Then there's swarm analytics. Using AI models designed specifically to understand and predict how a group of coordinated drones might behave. That's a whole different ballgame than just one drone.
Right, predicting the group mind, almost.
Sort of, yeah. Edge computing is also huge. Processing the sensor data right there at the sensor instead of sending it all back to a central hub first. That cuts down latency, makes the reaction time way faster.
The processing on the spot.
And finally, C-UAS, ISR integration, feeding all this drone detection data into the bigger battlefield awareness picture so commanders see the drone threat in context with everything else that's happening.
Wow, it's really moving towards anticipating threats, not just reacting once they appear.
That's the goal. Intelligent, proactive defense.
So for you listening, what does all this mean? I think it shows that defending against drones isn't simple. It's this really sophisticated, layered process. It's constantly changing, constantly learning. It's a dance, really, between detection, deciding what to do, and then acting, all backed by some incredible tech. We've kind of walked through that whole C-UAS kill chain journey today, those 7 stages. Detect, track, classify, identify, decide, engage, defeat, and assess, recover. Plus all the tech that makes it tick. It's pretty impressive stuff.
And I think what really stands out is how adaptive these systems have to be and increasingly are. That learning loop driven by AI and the assessment phase, it's absolutely crucial because the drone threat itself is evolving so fast.
It's not a static defense at all.
Not at all. It's alive, it learns, it improves.
Which kind of leaves us with a big question to think about, doesn't it? As drone technology keeps racing forward, maybe even drones designed specifically to beat these defenses, how will that push and shape the counter-drone systems of tomorrow? Especially with AI on both sides, learning and adapting constantly.
That's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? This technological race?
Yeah, something to definitely keep an eye on.